Today we're stepping into the turbulent whirlwind that was World War II. Now we all know the broad strokes, the battles, the strategies, the heroes, but what if I told you there's a story that goes beyond the usual narratives? A tale of a man who danced through the chaos not between two but three different armies. We're diving into the extraordinary life of Yang Kyoungjong. Yes, you heard it right, a man who fought for Japan, the Soviet Union, and Germany. It's like a real-life game of Risk, but way more intense. World War II, the global epic that shaped the destiny of nations. But amid the thundering cannons and the sweeping tides of war, Yang Kyoungjong found himself on a journey that defies imagination. Welcome to Asia Obscura. Please like, share, and subscribe for more obscure Asian stories. Now let's set the stage. It's 1920s and Korea is under Japanese rule. In the midst of all this, a baby named Yang Kyoungjong comes into this world. Not much is known about his early days, just that he was a native Korean living in Japanese-controlled Manchuria when the storm of World War II began brewing. Fast forward to 1938, Yang is now 18 years old. Just your average teenager, right? Well, not quite. In a twist of fate, he gets conscripted into the Imperial Japanese Army's Kwantung Army. Now, the Kwantung Army wasn't your run-of-the-mill military division, it was big, prestigious, and right in the thick of things. Imagine being a young guy, barely an adult, and suddenly finding yourself in the ranks of one of Japan's most significant forces. That's Young's starting point into this journey. But why? Why was he conscripted? I mean, the poor guy was only 18 years old. Now picture this, Japan is flexing its military might in the arena and Yang Kyoungjong is swept up in the middle of it. As tensions rise, Yang, now a soldier in the Imperial Japanese Army, gets swept into the maelstrom of the Battles of Khalkhin Gol. This isn't your typical skirmish, it's a clash of titans, a struggle for dominance between Japan and the Soviet Union. The year is 1939 and Yang finds himself on the front lines, fighting against the Soviet forces. The Battles of Khalkhin Gol were no walk in the park. They were a fierce border conflict between Japan and the Soviet Union, determining the fate of territories like Manchuria and Mongolia. But, and it's a big but, Young's journey takes an unexpected turn. Amidst the chaos of war, he becomes a captive, caught in the iron grip of the Soviet Red Army. Imagine the shift from fighting one side to becoming a prisoner of another. What happens next? Well, Young isn't just whisked away to some cozy POW camp. No, he's brought right to a Soviet labor camp. So fast forward a bit, Young, once a captive of the Soviets, is now handed a rifle and pressed into service for the Red Army. Yeah, you heard that right. From a Japanese soldier to a Soviet conscript. War has a funny way of shuffling allegiances, doesn't it? Young is pushed into the cauldron of the Eastern Front, a brutal theater where ideologies clash and the landscape bears witness to the scars of battle. It's a wild ride from one front line to another, with Young navigating through the chaos of war. Now imagine this, the Third Battle of Kharkov in 1943, a pivotal clash between the Red Army and the Germans. Young, caught in the crossfire, once again finds himself in the custody of the Germans. From a Soviet conscript to a soldier in the service of Nazi Germany, Young is ping-ponging his way through history like Forrest Gump. Now imagine this, Young, a Korean soldier, is deployed to defend the Cotentin Peninsula in the heart of France. We're talking about the heart of Nazi-occupied territory here, and Young is right in the midst of it. As fate would have it, our man Young is stationed in Normandy. Yeah, that Normandy, the very place where the stage is set for one of the most significant events in modern history, D-Day. Leading up to the storming of the beaches, Young is right there, defending against an imminent Allied invasion. So imagine this, D-Day happens, the Allies storm the beaches, and amidst the chaos, Yang Kyoungjong is captured by the US Army paratroopers. The tables have turned once again and now Young finds himself on the other side of the conflict. Here's the kicker, when Young is captured, there's some initial confusion. The US soldiers, unable to communicate with him, mistake him for a Japanese soldier. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Young is then transferred to a British prison camp and later to a US camp. After the war ends in 1945, the United States Army releases Young from captivity. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Instead of heading back to Korea, Young decides to plant his roots in America, leading a life that, despite its quietness, echoes with the extraordinary life of a man who fought for 3 nations. In 2011, a South Korean film titled My Way hit the screens. Imagine this, a war drama inspired by Young's unbelievable experiences. Anybody who finds this story interesting might want to check the film out. This concludes our journey into the extraordinary life of someone who, against all odds, found himself entangled in the complexities of World War II. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Asia Obscura. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have your own stories to share or topics you'd like us to explore, feel free to leave a comment. Until next time, stay curious, stay passionate, and stay tuned.